Are you involved with the Canadian legal system? Do you know someone in trouble with the law? You need to know what you have a right to expect from a judge in Canada. My name is Sam Moreau, and I'm a judge with the Nova Scotia Provincial Court. Walk with me while I'll tell you about Weldon. He's 25 years old. He has a 7-year-old daughter, Rosa, with his ex. He now lives with his partner, Alex. Weldon just got himself in a lot of trouble. He's terrified that he's going to jail. If that happens, he's certain he will lose his access to his daughter.
I said I'm on my way. Traffic is just slow.
You just don't get it. I told you not to bring her home late again. No more weekends.
Look, I'm trying my best here. Just give me a break.
Not good enough. You're always
You can't
late.
do this.
I'll see you in court.
She's doing it again. I can't believe she's doing it again. She's trying to stop me from seeing you.
Daddy, the woman!
Weldon drove above the legal limit and was talking on a cell phone while driving. He was so distracted, he never saw the red light, nor the senior citizen stepping off the curb. When he looked in his rearview mirror, he saw her sitting on the curb with her head in her hand. Terrified and confused, he did not stop. He kept driving to get Rosa home to her mom.
Mommy, Daddy, and a woman!
What's happening?
Hey, Weldon, what's up?
Oh God, you never believe it. I hit a woman with the car.
You what?
I didn't see her. She just came out of nowhere.
What? Hold on, slow down. What?
I told you,
what
Alex.
the hell
I hit
happened?
a woman at the crosswalk and she's hurt. I know it.
You gotta go back, Weldon. Look, I don't know what happened, but you gotta go back. It'll only get worse if you don't.
No way. They'll crucify me if I go back.
Go back, Weldon. You're gonna be in a lot of trouble, okay? But I love you no matter what. You know that. But you gotta go back.
Weldon didn't know what to do, but he knew his boyfriend was right. So he drove back to the scene of the accident.
I hit that woman, but I didn't mean to.
That's him. That's the car he hit her with. I saw him talking on his cell phone when he hit my mother. You're gonna pay for this. I can make sure that you're punished for this. I'm on the town council. I can make you pay. And oh yes, I will be going to the press.
Is this true?
Of course it's true. You know it.
You're under arrest for dangerous driving.
As Weldon's luck would have it, the victim's son is a city councillor. He and his mother are well-known, respected members in the community. The councillor is fed up with people speeding in the area.
We'll look after this matter.
Please make sure that you do.
Weldon's terrified. He's facing criminal charges, and he's certain this will end up in family court. He has a lot to lose. What chance does Weldon have in the Canadian legal system? And why should you care? There was a time when disputes were solved by the sword and the shield, by bloodshed and death. In Canada, we don't permit citizens or groups of citizens to take matters into their own hands. As a civilized society, when people have differences to resolve, we have a body of trained people to turn to. They are our judges who sit in our Canadian courts. Judges are legally trained. They take an oath to uphold the law. Our judges are expected to be impartial and independent. Judges determine what the law means, whether it has been broken, and what the consequences will be for breaking the law.
And I will do right to all manner of people after the laws of the province, without fear, favor, affection, or ill will.
This invisible protective barrier we have created keeps judges separate from all types of outside influence. The shield that once protected the warrior now becomes the invisible barrier that separates judges from outside influences. We call this judicial independence. This independence protects you and everyone who needs and wants a fair trial. This shield of independence makes sure judges are not threatened or harassed. Why build this shield? We want judges to make their own decisions based only on the evidence they hear at trial and the law. This evidence comes from witnesses who describe what happened or pictures or documents about the case.
Vignette number 1, Weldon at the courthouse. Judges must be independent from influence. Judges must be impartial. Judges must act with integrity, honesty, fairness.
Why is it so important that a judge be independent? In vignette number 1, we learned that judges must be independent from influence. They must be impartial, and they must act with integrity. Weldon is worried that the judge in his criminal case will rely on what the city councilor said.
And make sure that you're punished for this. I'm on the town council. I can make you pay. And oh yes, I will be going to the press.
Or worse, what was in the papers. He's afraid that someone with way more influence than him will be able to persuade the judge against him.
Weldon meets his lawyer for his criminal case in a witness room outside the courtroom.
City councilor said I haven't a chance here. He looked rich. I mean, what chances do I really have here? I mean, look at me. I have no money, and what if he finds out that I'm gay?
I know you're worried about someone influencing the judge, Weldon. In Canada, judges do not talk to politicians about a case. They're not influenced by politicians or government officials, powerful business people in the community, for that matter, neighbors or friends. That would be unethical. Judges have a duty to maintain their independence. They make decisions based only on the facts of your case and the law.
I don't believe that. I saw the police officer talking to the politician.
Look, the judge must uphold the law no matter who comes before them. Judges will not permit anyone to influence their decisions. You have a right to expect this of a judge in Canada.
But the politician said he was going to the media.
No, the judge will not be influenced by the media. Fortunately for you, Weldon, in your case, there were no long-lasting or serious injuries. Now let's talk about the facts of your case. Remember, Weldon, you are prohibited from driving for 12 months. You're on probation. So you must follow all of the conditions listed on your probation order, complete a driver safety course, pay a fine, and they will check on you.
I know. That won't be easy, but it could have been worse.
You're right. The judge reminded you that you could have been charged with distracted driving as well. The fine would have been larger, and if there had been any serious injuries, you could have been given a jail term.
I was just really nervous about the news about me being on the cell phone when I was driving and I hit that woman. But like you said, I think the judge took everything in consideration. She considered that it was my first offense and that I came back to the crime scene right away.
Yeah, and that you had a clean driving record.
Thank you very much.
Good luck to you.
Vignette number 2, Family Court. The Supreme Court of Canada instructs judges to identify their own prejudices or biases and guard against allowing these to impact in any case. Judges must not be negatively influenced by their personal beliefs or biases. They must be impartial and independent. They must make sure parties have a fair hearing.
When the criminal charges were laid, Rosa's mother applied to the family court to reduce Weldon's contact with his child. Ashley wants the judge to order supervised access.
All rise.
Good morning. Thank you. You can be seated. This is the Robertson Regan file. Mr. Roberts, do you have a lawyer?
I had a lawyer for the criminal case, but I can't afford to have one here.
Ms. Regan, do you intend to have a lawyer?
No, Your Honor.
This is your application. Perhaps you could just indicate to the court what it is you'd like the court to do.
He was speeding and hit a woman in a crosswalk.
Would you mind standing, please, when you address the court? Thank you.
My child was in the back seat and could have been killed. He cannot be trusted to take care of my child. I want his access supervised. And I want an order that says he can't drive with my baby in the car.
I haven't got a chance here. I looked you up on the internet and I saw that you fought for women's rights. You're a woman, she's a woman. I want a different judge. Look, I'm a gay man with a partner and I'm not gonna get a fair trial here and I'm gonna lose my kid. Then I'll be forced to see my kid with somebody else all the time. I might as well just give up.
Mr. Roberts, I hear you raising several concerns. Please, just both of you sit down for a moment. First, you said that you're concerned because I am a woman. And you're not the first person to raise that issue in this court. It's clear from looking around the courtroom that everyone here is a woman except for you and your partner, and I assume that you're Mr. Roberts' partner. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
I want you to know, first of all, that none of those things have anything to do with this case. As a judge, I took an oath that I would uphold the law, and I would apply the law only to the evidence that I heard and the facts that I determined after hearing that evidence. Each of you will have a chance to give your evidence and to call witnesses. The law says that I cannot make any decision or be influenced in any way by matters such as race, religion, gender, or sexual preference. The law tells me that I have to decide based on the evidence before me here in this courtroom. And according to the law, the only consideration for me today is the best interests of your child. That means I must hear from both you, Mr. Roberts, and Ms. Regan, and I'll also hear from your witnesses. You will have a chance to hear the evidence of each other and to cross-examine each other and to cross-examine your witnesses. I will only use the facts you both present in this courtroom and what your witnesses say in court. I will then apply the law to those facts as the basis for my decision. My job is to make sure this process is a fair one, and that's exactly what I intend to do today.
Vignette number 3. What can you expect of a Canadian judge?
Weldon was afraid, because of his criminal proceeding, he would lose his rights to his child. Let's see what happened.
Can't believe it. I can still see Rosa without being supervised. I mean, I can't really drive with her alone for a while. That'll cost me. But if I get a good report with my probation officer for completing the driver's course, it'll help me when I go back to court. You know, I think the judge really understands that Ashley and I love Rosa. She is making it mandatory for us to go and see a counselor so that we can talk about Rosa without fighting.
We can do this.
Weldon realized he'd made a mistake and was afraid he'd get all the blame and be the big loser. He was lucky that there were no long-term injuries. But the rule of law in the hands of an independent judge committed to the law and fairness resulted in a balanced solution most can accept. In Canada, we abide by the rule of law. The rule of law means everyone is subject to the law equally, regardless of position, including the judge. A judge in Canada must apply the law equally to everyone who comes before the court, rich or poor, regardless of gender, age, race, religion, or sexual orientation. In Canada, it is your right to have an independent judge decide the law free from influence, not based on popular opinion, but solely on the facts, the evidence, according to the law. The judge must set out their reasoning in coming to the decision. The reasons may be spoken in open court or in written form at some later time. Either way, the decision is open to the public with some very small special exceptions. It is important that Canadian courts be open to the public so that people can see how the courts operate and have confidence in our system of justice. Why is an independent judiciary so important to you? Because your right to a fair trial depends on the independence of our judiciary and the rule of law.
This educational video is made possible by funding from the Canadian Superior Courts Judges Association.